But let's leave the Marvel Cinematic Universe behind and move to what I think can only be described as some seriously shocking news from the DC Universe. When on Friday, the Hollywood reported that known comic book and anime fan and very good actor Michael B. Jordan is going to produce the upcoming Static Shock movie that was first revealed during August's DC Fandom event. Now, for those who don't know, Static Shock first began as a series simply called Static under DC's Milestones Comics banner, founded by Black writers and artists to help make comics a more inclusive space, and then Static, later stylized as Static Shock thanks to the animated series, followed the adventures of Virgil Hawkins, a metahuman who developed a host of electromagnetic powers after being exposed to radioactive chemicals. So my question to the panel is, A, how excited are you for this? And B, why is now the right time for a Static Shock revival? So Amy, let's start with you on this one.
I'm so excited. It's such a cool piece of comic book history. The right time for a Static Shock revival was 1995, but the second best time is now. And I don't know. I'm so happy it's happening. Whatever version they get, I hope I'm getting ahead of myself for ideas on it, but level of excitement, 15 out of 10.
I think that's, look, I'm no mathematician, but that sounds pretty exciting to me. Keisha, same question as well. What do you want to see from the Static Shock movie? Who should play Static?
You know, you threw out the, well, I know that Michael B. Jordan is way too old for this character now. So in terms of who, it's so hard because everyone I know and it comes to mind is so too old for this role, which is really sad to me that I can't really name someone of the age that would be for this movie. But whoever it is, I hope that they are dark-skinned, first of all. I think everyone in this main cast needs to be dark-skinned. That's first and foremost. And secondly, I just hope that, like the original series, there is a strong Black creative team, not just in the writing, in the producing, in hair and makeup, in directing, lighting, all of that. It needs to be Black through and through. So that's my hope for this.
So far, it sounds like DC is trying to put their money where their mouth is in regards to that. They're bringing back Milestone Comics as well. Reginald Hudlin, I believe, is either writing this or also producing the Static Shock movie. And now Michael B. Jordan coming on as well, I think adds a certain amount of like heft and like a certain amount of gravitas in it, especially given his like global popularity and like how high his star is rising. So fingers crossed that they will put the appropriate amount of money and care and love behind this, because, you know, while I came to the Static comics a lot later, I have such awesome memories in my head of watching the Static Shock animated series. Like, that is something that I think a lot of people grew up with, like got exposure to this character this way. And it's always felt like weird, like, hey, this guy who I watched all the time growing up, why doesn't he have more of a footprint now that superheroes and comic books are kind of the dominant global popular culture? So I'm hopeful that they will do this hero justice. But Eric, tell me, what do you hope to see from this movie? And do you have a suggestion for who should play Static?
Well, you know, everyone's thinking of Static as just this little kid, but on Justice League Unlimited, we got to see Static as an adult. So I'm not opposed to Michael B. Jordan playing an adult Static, and maybe you have, it's, you know, a Godfather 2 thing. You have flashbacks to him as a kid, getting his powers, and it's also an adventure of him as an adult, having been a former child star superhero. So maybe he could, even though I would rather have Michael B. Jordan play Icon if he's going to play any Milestone character. But I'm not opposed to him being Static. I mean, it makes sense for Static to happen now. The generation that grew up with the cartoon, you know, they're adults now. So they're the perfect, you know, some of them might even have kids of their own, as scary as that might sound. But like, that was 2001, 2002 when that show came out. So it's the perfect time to do this, you know, and it's a beloved character. So yeah, I'm all for it. And I kind of do hope Michael B. Jordan is playing adult Static.
want Teen Static. I mean, the co-creator Dwayne McDuffie said at the time that when he created him, he had in mind the fact that in the early 90s, Spider-Man was like an adult married character. And he was like, I miss that youthful energy. And he tried to channel that, as I'm sure y'all know, into the creation of this character. And I want them to honor that. Like, yes, do I want Phil LaMarr to make a cameo in this thing? Yes, absolutely. Make sure he's in there somewhere. Do I want to see Michael B. Jordan? Absolutely, I do. But I feel like that teen energy is just such a part of who he is, and I want to see.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a suggestion from the chat from Howard Di Natalia. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering your last name. Please message me later if so. But I love this suggestion. What about Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things, who plays Lucas? Caleb is 19 years old, I believe. So he and Liam Neely in the cast also says Marcus Scribner. He'd be perfect for Static age-wise by the time this comes out. Let's see. I don't know if I know Marcus off the top of my head.
Yeah, remind me, please.
Marcus is, he plays the son, Andre Johnson Jr. on Blackish, I believe.
That's an interesting choice.
If my lightning fast Googling is correct. But yeah, I think Caleb and Marcus are both fascinating suggestions there. Yeah, now that you mention it, I do want Phil LaMarr to have a cameo as well. And also knowing that what a massive, obviously I want to see this movie in live action, but knowing what a massive anime fan Michael B. Jordan is, I would also love to see them do a kind of like Static Shock, like American style anime, like in the vein of what Rooster Teeth is doing with Ruby or Avatar: The Last Airbender, because I think you could also stand to have an updated animated series to go along with this, because I'm glad there's this boom in adult animation right now with things like Harley Quinn. Now we're also getting MODOK on the Marvel side, but I do think it's important to keep pumping out stuff that's all ages as well, because, I think like a lot of us, we have fond memories of things like Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, and like DC does a great job with that. So I'd love to see them extend that to other characters beyond just your Batmans and your Supermans and your Wonder Womans.
Plus it's 2020, so his gay best friend can still be gay this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
A simpler time where they were just friends.
Yeah. WB is all about the corporate synergy, though. Like, if there's a movie, there's going to be an animated series companion of some sort. Like, I don't think they'd pass up that opportunity.
I mean, exactly. Especially you're seeing that a lot with what they're doing on HBO Max too. Like, the Suicide Squad movie, they're also doing a Peacemaker television series. I think there was another one. Green Lantern's getting a television series and a movie as well, but I don't know how connected those two are going to be. But only time will tell.